My mother-in-law called the police on me and lied to them that I was abusing my son, so now I'm letting her lie in the grave she dug and she'll never see my son again. Posted by you/Rayurathates right. I really can't believe it, but my mother-in-law claims that my partner and I, mid-30s, are abusing our baby, 6 months old, because he complains while on his tummy. Our doctor said he needs more tummy time to help with his flat spot, strengthen his muscles, and assist with rolling over. He doesn't like tummy time, but it's not like he even gets to the point of crying, he just makes uncomfortable noises. We tried explaining this to my mother-in-law, but she keeps insisting that we are forcing the baby and abusing him. My mother-in-law has been living with us for the past few months, and things had been going great until this happened. 2 days ago, she snatched the baby from me during tummy time and said I was committing violence against him. I regretted letting her take him, but I allowed it. Then yesterday, she tried the same thing, and I refused to give her my baby. The thing is, I wasn't even doing tummy time. My baby complains when he isn't doing something, he just constantly gets bored. My mother-in-law heard him fussing from another room and came barging in, accusing me of abusing him again. I walked away from her and locked the door behind me. She pounded on the door, saying she would call the cops, and she did. I called my partner, who left work immediately and drove home. 2 policemen spoke with her and then with us. I invited them in and told them they could look around. They saw an immaculately clean home and a very happy baby. My mother-in-law had stopped cleaning up over the past couple of days or helping with anything like she used to, which made me think this was premeditated to try to make us look bad, but I had been cleaning behind her. My mother-in-law tried telling the cops that we were dirty because there were dirty bottles and a snot sucker in the same place, that we pet the dog and then held the baby, and that we did tummy time where the cat lays on the couch. When she claimed that tummy time hurts the baby, the officers just said, "I'm not a professional doctor." They couldn't contain their laughter, commenting that my mother-in-law seemed to think she was the resident expert and that they often deal with mothers who disagree with parenting styles. I, unfortunately, couldn't laugh along because I was in tears explaining the situation, but it was clear the police were on our side. They reassured us that the clean house was not an unsafe environment for the baby. They also informed us that, at this point, they were simply there for a venting session with my mother-in-law and told us not to worry. Of course, no police report was filed. My partner had my back the whole time and kicked my mother-in-law out of our house. She had a couple of hours to pack her bags, and then I drove her to a motel. She was, of course, furious but showed no remorse and believed she had done nothing wrong. She doesn't have much money, so my partner and I are paying for her stay. We booked her a flight home for tomorrow. I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but this might be the last time my mother-in-law sees her grandchild. She has no idea and still thinks the baby is hers too. Luckily, my mother-in-law and father-in-law live on the other side of the country. Here's to hoping they never move here. Up in the comments. I was trying to keep the post brief to focus on the major situation. So, my mother-in-law has made comments, but my partner has shut her down. For example, she didn't like that our pediatrician is young, she doesn't trust doctors. She also didn't trust the skin treatment method the pediatrician chose for a rash and didn't like that we don't give our child water. But my partner shuts her down immediately. Maybe things were just building up since she never got her way, and then it all came out. But I wouldn't say there were any arguments, it was more just little comments she made. She also hated the white noise machine and even told the police about it. The officer stayed professional, but you could tell they were holding back laughter. Update 4 days later. An hour or so after I dropped my mother-in-law off at the motel, both my partner and I received texts from my father-in-law, and I quote, "You can't leave my wife in a hotel. I demand you guys take her back to your house now and work out any problems or misunderstandings. If something happens to her, you are going to be responsible." Later, he argued that we did not explain tummy time well enough to her and said, "You guys are not geniuses and need to be empathetic." My partner immediately blocked him, but I did not know until we discussed it later. I tried reasoning with my father-in-law but quickly realized it was not going anywhere, so I blocked him too. The next day, the motel said I could not pay by phone, so I had to drive there to pay for one more night. This was Saturday, and my mother-in-law's flight was on Sunday. I also decided to bring my mother-in-law some snacks. She had requested water, but I figured I would add some snacks too. Listen, you guys, I do not know why, I just thought it was a bad area of town, and her walking to the gas station could be dangerous. But if it makes you feel better, while she was living with us, she bought some frozen taquitos that she told me I could eat because she did not like them. They really were not good, some unidentifiable ground chicken. Also, earlier that week, my mother-in-law and I had bought some good chicken taquitos from Costco. Anyway, to be petty, I put the one she did not like in the snack package for her. When I dropped off the care package, my mother-in-law pleaded that she was not really going to call Child Protective Services. I forgot to mention earlier that she did threaten this. She did not offer an apology but wanted me to tell my partner that she was not actually going to call CPS. I said, "All right," and left. My mother-in-law then called my partner, and I thought she was going to apologize, but she did not. Instead, she started guilt-tripping immediately, saying she thought she was not treated well at our wedding a couple of years ago. Somehow, she never mentioned it until now, and bringing up other random things. My partner hung up on her. A lot of people asked why I did not just get an Uber for my mother-in-law, and honestly, I am not sure. I think I was getting more and more upset inside because I started envisioning myself telling my mother-in-law off once and for all. So, I started planning to speak my mind on the way to the airport. At this point, it was clear my mother-in-law would never apologize, not that I would let her see my baby again anyway, I just wanted to see if she would apologize. Note, I think I forgot to mention that earlier that week, my mother-in-law told my partner that us forcing tummy time was equivalent to the way my father-in-law abused her and her children. That really pissed off my partner, who had to witness my father-in-law's physical violence growing up and says my mother-in-law did nothing at the time. I am not saying the abuse was my mother-in-law's fault, but my partner finds it hypocritical and messed up for her to compare us and our baby to that situation. So, Sunday came. I picked my mother-in-law up and took her to the airport. On the way, I asked if she was planning on apologizing. She said, "To who?" I said, "Both of us." She then started saying we did not explain tummy time well enough and that it was our fault. So, I decided to say what I had planned. I told her that this whole situation was her fault, that she put us in danger by calling the police, and that threatening to call Child Protective Services ensured she would never see her grandchild again. I told her she was not welcome in our house in the future, and if I ever saw her near our house again, I would call the police for trespassing. I also told her she was a bad person, which I kind of regret. My mother-in-law had tears in her eyes. I was shaking and hastily dropped her bags off. As I started driving away, I heard a tap on the glass. I had nearly driven off with one of her bags still in the back seat. So, as she picked up her last bag, I called out again that she would never see her grandchild again and drove away angrily. She is now presumably back with my father-in-law on the other side of the country. I really cannot say I feel better. The rest of the day, I just felt sad, and I am not sure why. I have not felt like cooking, even though I cook most days, so we ordered Chinese. It has been a couple of days now, and I am feeling slightly better, just replaying the car conversation and wishing I had said even more, maybe shaming her for guilt-tripping my partner so much. I have gotten my neighbors to help with the baby, and my partner and I found a new restaurant to try. Anyway, I talked to my partner, and we agreed, both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law are blocked. So, they are officially blocked, on Facebook too, which is the only social media they use. We have not heard from them yet, but it has only been a couple of days. They probably think we are overreacting and that we will come around, but I do not think we will. My partner's brother is getting married in September, so we might have to see my mother-in-law and my father-in-law there. Thanks for all the support. I really enjoyed responding to everyone's comments. It feels good to be validated in my decisions. A lot of people said they would not have paid for the hotel and plane ticket, but I think my mother-in-law is on food stamps and quite poor. Also, she did provide childcare a few days a week for 3 months, and I am thankful for that. She saved us a lot of money. Lastly, she was technically a tenant, so she did not have to leave, even though it is our house. I do not know the exact tenant laws, but they vary by state here in the United States. I still think we did the right thing by paying for the hotel and flight, and I still think it is funny that I gave her the taquitos, lamau. Notable comments. For anyone wondering, WTF is tummy time, and why do babies need it? It's literally just laying your baby on their stomach. It can help with a number of things, from flat spots, places where the skull is flattening from the baby laying on it too much, to digestion, pressure on the tummy helps pass gas, to developing gross motor skills, pushing up on their arms and rolling over. Before the back-to-bed movement, putting babies on their backs to sleep, most babies got plenty of tummy time in their cribs because the parenting advice was to let babies sleep on their stomachs. Babies usually sleep much better on their stomachs. Unfortunately, they also suffer from SIDS much more frequently. And thus, back to bed and tummy time. Also, I have never met a baby that likes tummy time. They all either get very, very mad or just want to cry. My best advice is to do tummy time with them by getting on the floor, on your stomach, and playing with them, or having an older child do it with them. They like that even better.